As CDC field officers, you are embarking on a mission to the far corners of the earth. The stakes are as high as they can be. We drop the ball, thousands die. I am thinking the virus is not our biggest problem.
My name is Mara.
She's gone.
You actually think she's still alive, don't you? I snuffed her out like a candle.
The troubles, they just come. We can't control them.
Run if you want to stay alive.
We should protect her. The new walkers in there.
You're wrong. Haven. Season premiere Thursday, September 18th on Showcase.
No, I'm not Anna Silk. Well, everybody, thanks for showing up this afternoon. My name is Greg David, and I'm a television critic for TVAE.com. And it is my pleasure to introduce and moderate this panel of the very long name of the stars of this season's Showcase television series. So let's bring them out. She plays Bo on Lost Girl. Yeah. And she portrays Dr. Julia Walker on Helix. It's Kira Zagorski. He plays Sheriff Nathan Warnos on Haven. It's Lucas Bryant. And she is Doc Buell on Defiance. It's Trenna Keating. Thanks for being here, guys. So, Anna, let's start with you. Anything new going on? No. I think we all know that you made the announcement earlier this week that the season that you guys are working on of Lost Girl is going to be the last.
Yes. I know.
But we were talking about this backstage a little bit. Can you talk about how important it was not only for you to make the announcement on YouTube, personally to the fans, but also the fact that the announcement was made in advance so everybody knew that it was happening?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to share that announcement with the fans of the show, because the fans of the show have made the show. And if you guys could see how many takes we did of that, where I was crying my head off. It took a lot to get through. But I felt, and we felt like it was important to share it personally. And I feel like we're blessed in such a big way that we know it's our last season. We want to tell the story that we want to tell. We want to tell it properly. We want to give you guys the ending that you deserve and that Bo and the whole gang deserve. So I feel like we're in the best place. Even though it's sad.
So speaking of that ending, can you just tell us the ending here? None of us will tell.
Oh yeah, sure. No, I can't.
For anybody on the panel, sci-fi is a pretty interesting genre. There's so many different things that you can do. I mean, there can be wormholes and time jumps and black goo and people, done up in masks so that you can't even tell who they are until you meet them for the first time backstage. What's that like? I mean, it's very unique, as opposed to a guest starring role or being on a conventional television show. Can one of you talk about just the difference of being a part of this genre? Trenna, why don't you go ahead?
We're talking about. Well, there's just so much mystery and magic. You can go anywhere, and I think the one thing that's that's different is that the possibilities are open. So sometimes when you're trying to make sense of it, that might not happen in your own little mind. So you just go with it and then believe this is the truth for this episode. Then the next episode, the writers give you something else and you discover, oh, this is what the black goo is, okay? You know, so it's just, yeah, the sky's the limit. You can do anything. You can accept anything. So that makes it a lot more fun, I think.
Hang on, do you know what the black goo is?
It's chocolate, buddy. It's not
Oh, that explains so much. For me, it's doing things like this, I think has been, for my tiny little mind, explosive. Meeting sci-fi fans, I had no idea what I was getting into, but sci-fi fans, as you are all aware, are the best. They are hugely loyal, supportive, and inspiring and curious in their questions, and ravenous in their fandom. And it's like really an honor to be a part of.
Trina, how about you? And then I have a follow-up question about your makeup.
Okay, sure. Yeah, to sort of follow up on what you were saying, that it is, the world is so enormous, and the ideas are endless, and like you said, nobody ever dies in sci-fi. And even just the look of these shows, I mean, to come into work every day and see the creatures that they create and the worlds that they create. I mean, I can speak for Defiance, our set decorators and our production designers and our costume designers are all so incredible, and I'm just blown away every day by how these people's brains work, because they work in a very different way than mine, and I'm always bowing down to them, because without all of the incredible people behind the show, we could never play these fantastical characters and bring these worlds to our fantastic fans.
And just to add to that too, in terms of being in the sci-fi world, you know, I remember early on in our first season us having discussions about how do you play Fae? Like, what does that mean? And you don't play Fae, you play the reality of it. And the reality in a sci-fi world is supernatural and fantastical, but it's still real, and it's still real to those characters. They deal with real feelings, real themes, real issues. And I think that's what resonates with audiences, regardless of the world you're playing in. It's just super fun to play in sci-fi.
Now, Trina, let's just cut to the chase. How long does it take to have that makeup on, to get it put on? And how long to come off?
Sure, so it takes 2 to 3 hours to get into it every day. I will say, the very first time I did it, the camera test time, it took 5 hours, and I was sitting in the chair thinking, what have I gotten myself into? There's no way I can do an entire season of this. This is insanity. But it got a lot better. So yeah, 2 to 3 hours for the process. And then at the end of the night, they cut the mask up the back and peel it off and throw it away and start the process over the next day. So it's a new mask every day. So they pull it on, it's all one piece, and then they glue it down, and then they burn the edges of the mask off on the eyes and the mouth, and then they cut out the ears, and then they paint it all. And the painting part takes just as long as the gluing part. So yeah, it's quite a process.
And it's amazing because now that everybody has an HD set, you'd see those little flaws. But as an actress, it's strange that you have among the best lines on the show, but it's also hard to emote. I mean, everybody else on the panel can emote with their facial features, and you can't because you're underneath this makeup. So how do you compensate as an actress when you're hiding underneath all that stuff?
Well, it's kind of interesting because I studied clown for a lot of years before doing Defiance, so I studied mask work for a long time. I never knew that it would come in so handy, but it's true. Like I'm limited as to how much I can move my mouth, and then I'm wearing the crazy contact lenses, so you know I don't have my own eyes for you to see so it becomes a lot more about my posture and how you physically are feeling. A lot of that reads, and I think, is Paul Jones here? He was supposed to be here. I think our key makeup.
You're dead, Paul.
Is here. If he's not standing up, then, well, too bad. But Paul, if you're here, he's a shout out to our prosthetics team. But yeah, so it becomes a lot of physical work. But I'm also surprised at how much it does read through those contacts. I was worried that it wouldn't, but it does.
Now, Doc Ewell had a, spoiler alert, a same-sex, it was revealed that she, had a same-sex relationship earlier on this season. What was that like, having, when you read that in the script? Were you excited that your character was going in that direction and we were going to see that side to her?
Yeah, I was very excited. I wasn't that surprised actually, because in season 1, every single director that came onto the show was so fascinated with Doc's sexuality. Like every director would say, so does Doc have a boyfriend, or like what's up with Doc? and so I would always say, well, I actually definitely don't think she has a boyfriend. I always thought she was more asexual, to be honest. I said if she had a lover, it would be female. So when season 2 came around and they established that, I was very happy that they were bringing that into the show for me. And the girl that they cast as my partner, Lev, is a very good friend of mine, and we worked together right before shooting this, so we've got to know each other really well, and it was a blast shooting all of the stuff between Doc and Lev.
And Anna, on Lost Girl, it's no secret that everybody gets involved with everybody, whether this is the same do you, particularly in this genre, it just becomes part of the storytelling, whereas in more conventional television, it's shocking. Everyone, there's 2 girls kissing or there's 2 guys kissing. Why do you think it is that this genre is so forgiving and it's just like, oh well, whatever, they happen to be 2 women or 2 men or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly speak for Lost Girl in that, we created a world where your lead character is a sexual creature. Her nature is sexual. I mean, she needs who she needs, she loves who she loves, and I don't know, that I can't say we don't think about it, because obviously we do, because that's the story we're putting out there, but we just deal with the authenticity of each relationship. So Bo has many, but they all mean something to her, and they're all, real for her. I feel like we just kind of level the playing field in a way when it comes to that.
I just want to take a second while we're talking about this. I had a fan email me, a fan of Lost Girl email me. She may be a fan of mine as well, but she's certainly a fan of yours. Her name is Gina, and she said that I could read this email that she sent to me. She said, I can't believe the show's ending. It's meant so much to me as a member of the LGBT community. More than that, I've become part of the Lost Girl community, or as we like to say, family. I've made friends from all over the world. We not only share our love for the show and all the inspiration it's brought us, but we show up for each other, sending words of encouragement, inspirational quotes, and well wishes when someone's down. Funny, I've never been a geek or followed a show the way that I have Lost Girl, but I'm really going to miss these guys and the pride and friends it's given me.
Wow. Man! Well, I can honestly say that's an amazing message. And that's like a love letter to our show. So thank you for that.
Now, Lucas, speaking of same-sex relationships, is there any...
Yes.
With this upcoming season of Haven, have you guys heard anything about maybe Duke and Nathan getting together? Or would they be called Nuke or Dathan? What would they be?
I think they would definitely be called Nuke. Because the fallout of such a coming together would be massive.
For anybody on the panel, shipping is a big part of this genre. Has there been anybody come up to you on the street and say, hey, I want to see these 2 people get together?
I didn't know what shipping meant. I had to look it up. at least from my case, I think people want me to stop getting together with people because I make really bad choices, so not in my case.
Yes, I told you guys earlier that whenever a tweet came in saying, I would ship that, I thought that it had auto-corrected because in Defiance we say chop for I want to do that. So I was like, what the hell is shipping? But yeah, for Defiance, we've got, I know I've got my lover Lev, but there's a lot of interest in Doc and Daytac, Yule-tac as the odd couple. Not necessarily romantic, definitely not romantic, but more bitter, old married couple.
I think Lost Girls has an endless supply of shipper names. Docubus, Benzene, Bison. Who else? Yeah, of course, Docubus, yes. Yeah, it's amazing to see what people come up with.
Let's talk a little bit about the upcoming seasons. Now, Trena, Defiance is already wrapped. You guys are done shooting, and I think the season finale was just on in the US on Sci-Fi, but we still have a couple of weeks here left in Canada. So can you kind of tease what's to come? I mean, things are all starting to come together now and get pretty dramatic. So can you tease what's about to happen?
Sure. Well, I'll tell you this thing. Dog doesn't stay gone. Arissa, Arissa just brings trouble to her. So trouble gets big with Arissa. And Linda Hamilton has now joined our cast. So that was a pretty big deal for me. I was pretty excited about that. So some shit goes down with the Macaulays.
Yeah, that's very interesting because and that was one of my other questions, is the fact that she's been on Lost Girl a couple of times and now she's been on Defiance. So is she going to be on Helix and Haven as well?
That's a good idea. We can talk to the writers about that. Put a little Linda in there.
And then Lucas, I almost called you Nathan. Lucas,
Yes.
season 5, you guys are in the middle of a supersized season that you guys are shooting.
Right.
And the debut is coming up, the return is coming up in a couple of weeks. So can you kind of tease where we are at? Because there was a lot of stuff going on at the end of season 4. The door had opened, William had gone through it. Audrey was no longer Audrey. Duke was bleeding from his eyes.
Yeah, all that.
Dwight was being muscular.
Dwight was being totally huge, ridiculously massive for no good reason. Season 4 ended as you know with a certain someone played by Colin Ferguson being thrown through a hole in the ground, which is what Colin deserves on most days, and what I try to do to him whenever I see him in a hole in the same place. But it didn't necessarily have the desired effects. There were grave consequences from this action, and now in season 5 we are trying to, first of all, figure out what the pieces are that we need to pick up, and then start picking them up, because we kind of caused some problems.
And we talked about this briefly yesterday, about the fact that Nathan is he's so committed to Audrey no matter what. You know, maybe to some fans' frustration, because it just isn't happening and maybe it's time for him to move on. How do you guys feel? Do Audrey and Nathan belong together, do you think? Or do you think it's time for him to move on? All right then. How do you feel though?
I think, it's just time everyone should just maybe let it go for a little bit, go sit down on their couch. No, absolutely not. Nathan is, it is frustrating probably to some fans and also to some people in the show, sometimes myself included, that he seems to be making these same mistakes over and over. But there is something in him that so powerfully somehow believes in this woman, and that his love for her will somehow bring about an end to all this awful stuff that's going on in town. So as frustrating as his stubbornness can be, it's a real love story of a guy who won't quit, and I think that's one of his greatest qualities.
This show's really evolved. It used to be kind of the trouble of the week, and now it's evolved into something much more than that. As an actor, do you like to see those script evolutions? Do you like to see, like guys like Vince and Dave, those characters get fleshed a lot more? Do you like to see, Dwight doing more stuff? Do you like that as an actor because it means less work for you, or do you just like to see the evolution of the scripts as the seasons go on?
I actually, as an actor, try to avoid reading the scripts, so I don't. I just show up. I look for a hole. I look for Colin. I start pushing. No, absolutely. That is, of course, that's the stuff that I love. Are the longer mythology season arcs, the relationships between the characters. And Vince and Dave are some of my favorite characters in the show. Anything that allows, I think, the supporting cast to be more fleshed out is exciting for me and for them to play.
And then, Kira, let's talk about season 2 of Helix. Lots of stuff going on. When we last saw, you guys were in the Arctic and the base had been blown up. And, we've seen a little bit of stuff that's been reported out there that the second season is going to be international. Is it on a cruise ship? Can you confirm any of that information?
Yeah, the CDC is now investigating an outbreak that happens on a Windjammer cruise ship, and that brings them to a mysterious island where there's a cult that's inhabiting the island. So that's just going to get pretty dark and creepy pretty fast.
So from one part of the world that's cut off from everywhere else to another part of the world where everything's cut off.
Yeah.
How many episodes have you guys shot so far?
Shot so far, we're block shooting right now.
Yeah.
We have 1 day left of the first and second episode, and then we jump into 3 and 4. So.
And how much of a time jump is there between season 1 and season 2?
Oh, I can't tell you that.
Okay.
That's classified.
Okay. So what's it been like playing Julia? Because kind of on the surface, it was very much, at least to me, it was going to be kind of a focus on Billy Campbell's character, Alan, and the relationship that he had with his brother. But then all of a sudden it became way more about Julia. So what was that like to see those scripts as they came in and like, wow, I'm doing more stuff. I don't just have goo in me, there's going to be way more involved in this.
Honestly, it was a big honor because I fell in love with the character when I read for the pilot, and we mention this quite a bit when we talk about the show. The writers give us our next scripts, and this happens a lot in TV, I'm sure you guys shows too, but right before you're about to start shooting. So all these new storylines get revealed as you're going. I loved the character, but I thought it was really going to be about my piece in the story. I thought it was going to be a lot about the damage I did to him. And then when I discovered that I had my own purpose on the show outside of my love relationship to him, it just opened up a whole new world. And they gave me so much to do between the hallucinations when I'm sick and then thinking I'm one person discovering who I am. And since my connection, the whole reason that we were there was because of Hitake, my father, it just, I think it made my relationship to Alan stronger because now I've got my own agenda and it's not just about that. So it was an honor, and I felt like I had so much creativity that I honestly couldn't have asked for a better situation for a first season. Yeah.
And then Anna, you told me earlier, how many episodes have you got left to shoot?
Last night we wrapped episode 13, so we've got 3 more. We're on the home stretch. I know.
I guess a better question is, what are you going to steal from the set when the show's done?
Everyone keeps asking me that. My husband wants me to take the car, but I'm like, what am I going to do with that car?
We want to know where you live.
I don't know. I want everything. I want a little bit of everything from that set.
Do you guys have viewing parties? I know that a lot of you live tweet episodes and get together, but do you have viewing parties where you get together and watch episodes?
I do.
Yeah.
Every Thursday, there's about 8 of us that get together, and I got them all live tweeting now. So, yeah, because I'm always kind of left out because everyone gets together in LA to do it. So the rest of the cast is down there. So I just got my own people here, and we barbecue and watch Defiance and live tweet. So it's a lot of sitting around like this, not looking at each other. But it's fun.
Yeah, for me, the show is airing at 7 o'clock my time, and I've got kids, and they don't need to see mommy getting attacked in the shower, so it was just, that was kind of tricky for me. I'd always say, hey guys, I'm gonna tweet the late one, and everybody knew you've seen it. So it was kind of my own Twitter party. It wasn't very interesting.
And we're usually in LA when the show premieres, so we have people over and just friends, and usually watch the premiere together and have some food and wine, and it's fun.
That's a nice way of doing it.
Yeah.
And now, Lucas, you just kind of hopped on Twitter just fairly recently. You're yeah, you're not on there an awful lot, but are you finding, as somebody that's kind of joining the Twitter party, do you find that it's a fun way of connecting with your fans without, having, network people or agents? I mean, you're just talking right to them.
Yeah. Well, when I found out earlier this summer that the internet was invented, I immediately started asking questions like, what is this whole internet about, and how might I use it to connect ideally directly to fans? It was something that I didn't do because in many ways I am like a very old person. Thank you. And I didn't know if I was going to, I didn't really think that it was something that I was going to enjoy. I do, though. I do now. I see why people are...
It feels like a support group right now.
like that all the time, so I think probably, well, I don't know, I imagine for all of us too, one of the greatest, like I said before about sci-fi fans, but one of the greatest things about being able to be on a show that has a little bit of a life and people supporting it is that you meet these people that are the whole reason that you get to do what you love. So to be able to have things like this where we get to interact with people that have supported the show, or to be able to occasionally say something really, really, really smart in 100, what is it? That's why I can never get them to work. 40?
140.
See, it's not even possible. It's not even possible. If it were possible to cram something smart into 140 words, yeah, I feel honored. Words. Characters. Wow. This is,
outside and post a picture of a long writing.
Is that my grumpy cat?
Yes, it is.
Oh, you're here! Oh my god! Could you bring it to me? She's been promising this to me for a long
unless the security
time.
guy to the side there that tackles her. He's watching very closely from the side.
She's been promising me this grumpy cat for over a year now.
Kind of where I've heard it come.
She's one of the best people on Twitter. She's at Lonely Nerdette, and she's an incredible artist, so follow her. That's her Arissa doll that she made. She's incredible. Oh my god, and a tiny hellbug.
Get to work on a Nathan Warnos doll.
you're one of the best people on Twitter?
Yes, she is. I'm trying to get her a job in Defiance.
And then,
Yeah, maybe you can help teach me how to work that whole thing.
I'm surprised that Eric doesn't show you how to do it, because it seems as though I bet as soon as they say cut, he's probably back on his phone tweeting. That guy tweets a lot.
He doesn't, he shows me so many things, and at a certain point I just had to stop. Like, I was learning too much from that guy.
I'm still trying to figure out Twitter, honestly. I Rachel and Chris on set, I'm constantly going up to them, okay, I'm trying to write this tweet, and then it takes me about 20 minutes, and all they say is, get an iPhone, get an iPhone. So they claim that once I get an iPhone, it'll be much easier. We'll see.
Just tweet from craft services, whatever you're having for lunch that day. People like that too.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's Instagram.
yeah, that's probably right. That's Instagram. See, I just showed my age.
We are all over 30 up here. No, when I was a kid, in my hometown, I was in a local commercial for the information superhighway. That's how long ago. Trying to explain what that meant to people.
That's great. Is that on YouTube? Oh,
Not funny.
It's about to be.
Lucas, can you talk a little bit about working with Edge, with Adam Copeland? I mean, you know, here's this guy who made a career on the wrestling circuit, who's already playing, you know, this supersized character.
Right.
And then, you know, he comes onto the show and he's being given more and more to do as this great character of Dwight. So what's it like working with this guy?
Well, when I first heard that he was coming to be on the show, I was a little nervous for him because as you can see, I'm just an outrageously massive person and a sort of dangerous physical force. And I knew that he'd come from a world where he was like the top dog, and I was like, he's gonna come here and he's gonna realize that he's gonna have to take a back seat to the madness here. And so I was a little nervous for him to see how he coped with that. He, however, he came, he saw me, we sniffed each other, you know,
Is that on YouTube?
as you do. It was immediately taken down, but it was for a moment on YouTube. No, he's from a small town in Ontario like me. We grew up very close to each other. We get along ridiculously well. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met and has become an incredible actor. He came onto the show as a, maybe for an episode or two, and immediately joined the cast. Has been there now, 4 years now. And he has a lot to do this season, and he is crushing it because he's got big, crushable man hands.
Now, you're going to be in control of Mr. Copeland coming up because you're going to be directing your first episode.
That's true.
Can we be in it?
Everyone can be in it. It's a new concept for the show. Yeah.
Now that involves everybody flying to Halifax. That's okay, right? Yeah, talk about the whole directing thing and why you wanted to do it, and are you nervous about doing it?
I'm so nervous and so excited all at the same time. And I think that's the best thing to be, because I have to tell myself that. No, but I guess those are the combinations of emotions that go into any good thing I do. Scared, shitless, and really excited. Yeah, it's something that I always wanted to do and made clear at the beginning of this show that someday I would love to be able to direct an episode of Haven, and yeah, it's worked out. It's going to happen. It hasn't happened yet. It's happening. It's going to be happening this September, but then airing probably in like 2019.
Now, is the storyline, I know you can't give anything away, but does the storyline mean that Nathan is less in the episode because that gives you more time to be a director? Or are you literally going to be directing yourself as much as you're in an episode of Haven?
I will be directing myself and fighting with myself. That was terrible! Well, you don't tell me what to do! Everybody out! I need to talk to this idiot! And, like that. I think they definitely took into consideration that I would be directing the episode, and so they have written me. I'm relatively light in that episode, but yes, I am in it.
Nathan will be in a coma.
Nathan will not be in a coma. No, Nathan could have been in a coma. He gets hit over the head enough times. But he's not. No, I'm awake, I'm alive. I'm gonna have to move around and then also sit over there watching myself move around at the same time. It's gonna be, it's a tricky thing to be in two places at once, but I think I'm capable.
And the other thing is, you guys are doing a supersized season this season. You're doing 26 episodes. So how does that impact on all of you guys as a cast? Because not only are you geographically in this area a lot longer, but it also means that time away from family and things like that. So what kind of an impact does that have doing that?
That's the trickiest part. Sure, is having homes in different places. But yeah, we're in Nova Scotia for 9 months this year, and we'll be going into winter, which we haven't done before, and I'm really excited to see what that is like. I don't know if I'm that excited to shoot in the winter, but to see it on TV, I think will be fantastic. Very strangely Stephen King-y. The 26 episodes. It's a long haul. Strangely, I feel like everyone has paced themselves really well, and I still have lots of fuel for my fire. Normally we would be finished about now, and I would be just falling over, going home, exhaustedly crossing the finish line. But no, I'm, as you can tell, still charging forward. Yeah.
Kira, long emotional hours. Well, all 4 shows have a lot of emotional moments, but I mean, Helix is one of those shows where it's very dark, and if there is humor, it tends to be a little bit of sarcastic humor, and then everybody moves on to try and save the world. So how do you guys keep things light on the set when you're all working together? Is there somebody like, does Billy do weird things? Like, who keeps things light on the set?
Well, honestly, I find myself very amusing. I will sit there and go through a horrific, sobbing trip-out scene, and then I'll look over and something's happening. The other day, I lost it over a bowl of soup, and they were shooting, and they're just staring at me, and I couldn't get myself together. So it's just, I feel like that's just a part of me that has to balance it out. Let me freak out for a second, and then I have to, it just became a joke that, okay, Kira's having a laugh attack again, and they just sit there and stare at me. But the problem is, the longer they stare, when nobody else is laughing, it makes me laugh even harder. So if nobody's in on it and they just look at me deadpan, it kills me. And then I have to really focus, and I feel like I'm in school again. But the person who I think, Billy, is so funny. But I don't think he's trying to be. And the problem is, for me, it's in between takes. For him, it's during the take. So you're sitting there watching him, and he's just so earnest, and then he'll do something, and he just screws it all up, and then it's so hard to pull it back together. Jordan and I have conversations about this all the time, about, I had to do this thing with Billy, and I couldn't keep it together, and then there's this, it's just, he's so funny. I don't know what it is about him, but I would love for him to do a comedy in between. He likes it, and he's hilarious. And yeah, he just doesn't mean to be. The minute the guy tells you a story, it's just, he opens his mouth and everybody's laughing, and he hasn't even done anything yet. Yeah.
Feel bad for him.
No, it's not because
Are they
it's
pointing?
nothing against him, it's just his way,
Yeah, and you guys have to learn a lot of scientific jargon. Did that take some getting used to?
Yeah.
And wearing those sexy suits?
I called that my Ghostbuster suit. Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, especially in the beginning of last season, there was a lot of science scenes between Jordan and I, and we just spent a lot of time on YouTube trying to understand what all of this stuff meant. And I found this amazing guy on TED Talks who started adjusting the way he taught science in his high school class so that it was more accessible to people. It was actually pretty brilliant. And so I found my resources and made sure I understood what everything was, because there was a difference between the real science and then the sci-fi. We wanted to make sure the real science was grounded and believable, and we knew what we were doing, because the truth is you have to learn all of that stuff and make sure you got that down, because then we went in and you'd have 5 minutes to learn how to use all of this equipment like a pro. So that was kind of the daunting but fun part. It was actually pretty fun. But then, of course, I kind of left that and got sick and got attacked by monsters, so, you know.
Only in sci-fi. So let's go down the line and talk about guest stars. Can you talk about any guest stars that are coming up, Anna, in this upcoming season?
Now, there's a lot of guest stars that I can't talk about without giving away big spoilers, but we do have Linda Hamilton back, which is amazing. She's incredible, and she's back in a really great way. And she's the only one I can talk about.
All right. Well, that's a good one, though. That's exciting.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
It's awesome.
What's it like working with her? I mean, I don't know about you guys in the audience, but I mean, I grew up watching the Terminator movies, so, I think I fell in love with her in the first one as a 13 or 14-year-old, just discovering myself. But anyway, what was it like? What was it like working with her?
She's awesome because she just, she shows up, she's ready, she's up for anything. I did a fight scene with her last season, so all I can say is you better watch out when she's fighting with you because she goes for it, which is awesome. But yeah, she's such a pleasure and has had so much, experience in our industry and has so many great stories, and she carries that around with her, and you can learn so much from her.
She have good Arnold stories?
She has good everyone stories.
And then in season 2 of Helix, we've got Matt Long and Steven Weber have been announced as guest stars. Can you talk a little bit about the characters that they're playing, Kara?
Yeah, Steven Weber is playing the leader of the cult, and it's a great character, really, really interesting. And then Matt Long is playing the new member of the CDC team, so charming, and I think he adds a little spark of light to the group. But the cast this season, there's a lot more characters than there were last season, and they're all very interesting, and I think the audience is really gonna love that. There's a lot of different twists and turns going on, and some freaky people, so.
Freaky people.
Freaky people.
And then Lucas, you guys have got, you've got Laura Manel. Is that the way you pronounce her last name?
Yes, sir.
So she's joined as Dr. Charlotte. Is that, they changed her name? Yes, to Charlotte Cross, because it was another name before, right?
They've changed her name like 7 times. Really?
Why do you think that matters? Do you think that matters to get the name just right?
It's not about getting the name just right. Well, sure, it's about getting the name just right, but it's also about names clearing. Like there has to be, I don't know the rules exactly because I'm, not that smart a person or interested in actually figuring out stuff, but it's something about like in the state of Maine, because that's where our show's set, so of course it would have to do with where Maine is. This is ridiculous. There has to be like X amount of people named, whatever the name you're gonna use is. If there are only like 3 or less, then you can't use that name because then people are going to identify the character as that person who lives in Maine.
No way.
Yeah. So there's some statistical analysis that is done before every episode of Halo.
So there are more than 3 Duke Crockers that live in Maine?
Or none. Right. I don't know if it's 3. I don't know if those are the exact rules. As I said, I am a man of science, as we all know. But yeah, it's something like that. So they had to change the name a number of times because they kept like nailing the name that was like the one woman that lived in Maine named what they were going to name. So that's why sometimes I read these scripts and we have, I'm chasing this guy named, Bertino Waliawahu. I was like, really? That's his name? We're gonna... Because of these strange things that happen in this world.
Okay, so then the final...
What was the question?
Laura. I'll loop back. So Laura's playing Dr. Charlotte Ross, so that name was clear. That name was clear. So what can you tell us about her?
She's got a great name, first of all. I love it. I can't tell you much about her. She's joined our cast this season. She's here for a long time. She means some huge stuff, but I can't tell you any of it. She initially is presented as a character that comes from the CDC to investigate a certain genetic marker that she thinks might be linked to something larger going on in Haven. But as anyone who's familiar with the show knows,
Is she on a cruise ship?
not yet.
She was a doctor on a cruise ship.
But there is
We're shipping.
We're
We're shipping.
There she goes.
everyone just stay quiet and keep looking at her.
And then, Trina, was there a favorite guest star that you had this past season?
Anna ruined it for me. She already talked about Linda Hamilton. Yeah, so we had Linda Hamilton, of course, which was the big name, but we also had a few new people join our cast. I wouldn't call them guest stars because they're sticking around, but James Murray and Anna Hopkins joined us, and Bill Atherton. And it was crazy because they didn't seem like new people to us. They fit in immediately, and it seemed like they were always there, and they all have great, funny sense of humor, just the same as everyone else. And yeah, we were just happy to have them. Linda Hamilton, side note, I never actually met her without my doc head on, so she doesn't actually know who I am. Which was kind of disappointing because I'm a huge fan of hers. But she did give me a hug, so I'll take that.
So we just have a few minutes left. So I thought maybe I'd go down the line, and you guys could all just talk about what it means to be. You're all filming TV shows in Canada, so what it means to be filming a television show in Canada, because I think that we need to start celebrating Canadian film stuff and Canadian created stuff. No surprise to anybody here in the room, but can you just talk about that, and then a quick message to the fans before we close out. Anna, why don't we start with you?
Okay. I love that I get to work in Canada. I'm so proud of our show, and I'm so proud that it's Canadian. And I feel like the look, the content, the opportunities for Canadian shows to be made has completely changed. And we're so competitive now in the international market in such a big way. So I'm really proud that Lost Girl has been part of that wave of shows, like these shows as well. And yeah, I'm like, Canada kicks ass. And our show kicks ass.
And then maybe just a final message to the fans of the show too.
Oh gosh. I don't know how to say a final message really, but I would just have a big thank you to all you guys and to all the fans of the show, because it's been through that communication, constant communication with you guys. It's really been injected into our show in such a big way, and we talk about you guys on set. We talk about fans' reactions to things, and that interaction and that support and investment that you guys have had in the show has made it what it is. So we're eternally grateful and eternally proud that and I think that this season will make you guys all very proud to have been on board from the very beginning. So thank you.
Carrie, you want to give a shout out to the Belcher Halls?
Yeah, and the question about shooting here, that means something a little different to me because I grew up in the States and I've been here for a while. I feel very grateful to be able to do this here in Canada. I really love Canada. I think not just within the industry, but I think what's great about this place is that people can come from anywhere, and their unique way is not only accepted, but it's expected. And that's what has always made me feel very comfortable in Canada, and makes me feel comfortable having my kids be here and just living here. And I think something that I really loved about Montreal in particular is it's just such an artistic city and such a a cultural blend of people where they really own who they are, and that leads into the film industry. So the camera crews, the makeup, the hair, everybody, they take such pride in their work, and the artistry is just so, you can feel it. And I feel very lucky that we shoot where we shoot. That's been, yeah, I'm grateful for it. Shout out to the fans. I'm just excited for you all to see season 2. I mean, I only know about half of it right now, but it's, I think it's gonna blow you away. I think it's gonna be better than the first season. There's a lot of layers, and it's a lot of twists and turns, and it's pretty exciting.
What was the question again?
Shooting in
Got it. I'm Canadian, so being in Canada, shooting in Canada, living part of the time in the States, but getting to be in Canada to work is incredible. It's a part of my me that is reminded of it when I am here, and I'll feel more. Does that make sense? That makes sense, right? Canada makes my me. And I appreciate being me here because I like me. And especially, I mean, Nova Scotia is a stunning place that you don't often see on TV. And I'm so proud that we get to put that on TV. And that is a huge part of the show. Probably the largest character in the show is the setting, the place where we shoot. Even though it's supposed to be Maine, everyone at this point, because of this new invention, the internet, knows that it's Nova Scotia. And we have people, especially this year, traveling from all over the world to Nova Scotia to see, well, hopefully to run into the Haven set, but also just to see that landscape that they were introduced to on television. So I think that is a huge testament to the beauty of our great land, and to see new environments and locations, putting them out there for the world to see that it's, they've fallen in love with what we love about it. To the fans, come on now. That's my message. Come on now. Yeah, it's such an honor. That's all. Thank you for making all of this possible for people like us. It's a dream come true.
Well, like you said, I feel very grateful and blessed to be able to put Scarborough on television. I think that we've been really lacking in Scarborough in the television world. But I am Canadian, and I've only ever worked in Canada, so I can't really speak to what it's like working elsewhere. But I can say that we have a lot of people that are Americans or our cast. A lot of them are from the UK and Australia, so we have a lot of people coming to Canada, and the thing that I hear over and over again is how kind and nice our crews are here in Canada. So I think that we should be very proud of the industry that we've built for ourselves here. And like you guys said, we are making incredible television here now, and it just keeps getting better. So that's very exciting to me. And as far as the fans go, I mean, you guys are the reason we do all of this, and I feel like I've gotten to know so many of you because of how social media is now, and I think that that's incredible that we are able to reach out, and you guys are able to reach out to us, and I feel like I've made friends, and you guys have the ability to save shows, and that is something that does not go unnoticed, and we are all, at least on our Defiance show, and I'm sure I can speak for you guys, incredibly grateful for your support and your love and for watching, so thank you.
Very well said by everybody. It's been a pleasure chatting with you guys today, and thanks to all of you guys for coming out today.
Because he wasn't down for like the blue book that was released. Oh, is that what? And your mom went.